Friends, my name is Joey. Welcome to my channel. This is my second video with the pink lemonade treasure box from Potomac beads. And if you know me at all, you know that just the name pink lemonade is just pure joy. So what I'm going to do today is 3 really unique pairs of earrings. And on this one that is here, I'm going to insert a little clip of a video where I showed how I set up these bead frames, or pendants they were called, because there was a little gluing involved, and I'll show you exactly what I did to embellish the center to create the earrings. So we're going to do this one last because I want my samples and everything to sit and dry. And the first one we're going to do is this gorgeous hoop earring. It's so unique. The box contained these 6mm Potomac pearls in this really rich peach color, and there were these peach rondelles, and I am just using a little piece of 22 gauge wire because that's the gauge that I needed to go through my hoop earrings, and these will sit in the ear this way like a classic hoop. And they are really unique in that this entire earring is on one piece of wire, and it's using 3 beads. The pearls from the box, I just brought in a little 8/0 seed bead from my stash, and the Potomac Beads website, if you go on the website and you go to the section for seed beads, you will be duly impressed. They have everything, and it's a great source for seed beads. But this little earring is pretty simple. It might look a little complicated, but it is not, and we're going to do that one first. I started with 2 pieces of 22 gauge wire that were exactly the same. It helps when you're making earrings. So this earring started on a piece of wire that was cut the same length as this one. And the first thing that I am going to do is take my smallest 1-step looper and put a loop in one end of this 22 gauge wire. You can totally do this with your pliers, but I keep my 1-step loopers, all 3 sizes, really handy. I use them because I make so much jewelry and it really saves my hand. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm starting with a smooth, nice piece of wire, and this loop is going to get covered up, so it doesn't really need to be perfect. I like to use the 1-step looper because it's effortless for me to get my loops the same size like when I'm making earrings. And then I am going to thread on 9 pearls. I'm going to start with a pearl and then put a seed bead in between each one and then end with a pearl, not a seed bead. I put my seed beads in this dish, but I have this little set of seed bead trays. This is the smaller of the 2, and I absolutely love stringing from this little tray. It really takes any of the tediousness out of stringing really small seed beads. So I am going to pick up my seed beads from here and just get my 9 seed beads. I'm sorry, it's 9 pearls, 8 seed beads. Okay, that is my last one. I love this little tray because I can unscrew this and take my tube that my seed beads came out of and effortlessly clean up my mess. I really love these trays. Whoops, wrong cap for the wrong for the wrong thing. But I do love this, and there's a larger one, and ever since I found these, I love beading with them. Okay, so now I have all of my pearls on here, and you could use a mandrel if you wanted to, but I did not. I just brought them around into a hoop-shaped earring. It's only 9 pearls, so I like the little bit of hand sculpting. Just going to bring this around and get it round. I want to make sure that my loop here is going parallel to my beading mat when I hold my hoop earring, the way that it would be in the ear. So if you can see down through the loop, it is parallel with my beading mat. And I'm just going to kind of wiggle this wire up through that hoop just to get a nice circle. It helps to get a nice circle of pearls and get it nice and tight. I'm just going to pull this up, and that's just going to hold it in place for me so I can continue before I lock this down any further to shape my hoop of my earring, my circle. That looks pretty good to me. Just going to make that loop, just zhuzh it so that it is really really going like this way. I don't have the word for that, but that's the plan. And then I'm going to cover this loop by just doing a few wraps. Let me copy this earring. It looks like I did 4 wraps, and I'm just going to cover up the loop with this wire. Just wrap it around, trying not to kink it because this wire is also going to become the ear wire. So I'm just going to get it in there kind of neat. Use my pliers to help me. Okay, I am pretty happy with that. It looks good, matches my other circle, and I'm just going to pop this beautiful rondelle bead on, and I'm going to be looking at my earring as if this is the front. And if you've been on my channel before, I'm sure you have seen me do this little trick, but I am going to make this the front part of my hoop earring, so it's going to look like that. And let me make sure that this is sitting. Just make a little adjustment here before I do the next step. It's always good not to move on if you see something wrong, because it only gets worse if you don't stop and fix it. Okay, that looks good. Okay, I'm going to grab that bead, grab that wire right at the top of that bead, and I'm going to bend this toward me like about 45 degrees. So can you see? And then I like this bail making plier for this. I like the smallest mandrel on it. And I'm going to put this in here. Whoops, wrong way. I want to be wrapping around the smallest mandrel. So again, I'm going to make sure that I'm looking at what I've designated the front of my earring. And I'm just going to bend this over the back and kind of bring it down to my pearls in the back. Turn it so you can see. And when I take the plier away, I basically have my little ear wire. So I'm going to come, honestly, you guys, I really like to do my earrings together, but when I'm making a video, I'll do a prototype, and it always causes me trouble because I do one-of-a-kind designs, and I like to be creative and do something different each time that I make a piece. And so if I don't sit and do like earrings together, I'll end up forgetting what I did. So I remembered pretty well, but I normally would put like my everything beside each other to make earrings so that they are exactly the same. But to finish this, I'm just going to take my flat nose plier and grab a hold of that wire so it's not sticking out here, and just kick that out. And I have this pretty little wire. I got that one a little bit shorter because, you know, I normally, like I said, I normally do my earrings when I'm actually making earrings, not for video purposes. I normally do them at the same time, but you know, it will be okay. They look really great. And so you can take your pliers and work hard in your ear wire, and then if your wire is sharp, a wire rounder or a file to smooth out the ends. But that pretty little pair of hoops is done, and I really love them. I love making earrings where you don't need an ear wires, you don't need earring backs. It's just an all-in-one piece, and I find that I wear these a lot too. I pick these up in my jewelry wardrobe and just pop them in my ears because they're just so easy. Okay, the next pair is equally as easy, and again, because I like to do my earrings together to make sure that they're the same, I've partially done my sample earring, but I did not finish it. So I have one tiny little wrap here, and let me show you. I have designated this as the front of this earring, and when you turn it over, the wire is just going up the back. And then I have this little gold plated flower bead cap and one of those gorgeous 7mm frosted yellow beads. And I was thinking of making this a pendulum style. I'm going to play with that first. If I don't like it, I can always do a loop down here and have a beautiful floral earring. But I like to take the chance in my designs to try something that I haven't done before. So on this one, I have moved up to 20 gauge wire. My rule of thumb is to always use the largest diameter or gauge of wire that will fit through my beads, because it just makes the piece that much stronger. So all I'm going to do is smooth and straighten this, and I'm going to take one of these beautiful, they called this a cabochon in the treasure box, but it's a coin bead to me. It's a flower coin bead, but if you glued this on something, I guess it could be a cabochon, and you could definitely bezel this if you wanted to. But I'm going to do this with it. My wire still has a little bit of a curvature. Check glass and pearls have notoriously small holes. So if you have even a little bend in your wire, sometimes you can't get it through the bead. So I'm just going to push this through so that I have enough space to bend this up the back and just wrap around once. I didn't really want to see the wrap. I wanted this flower bead to be as if it were just kind of floating. So I didn't want any wraps. I didn't want a lot of wire. So I'm going to designate this the back of the bead. I'm going to fold this up as neatly as I can, straight up the back. And I just want to put any pressure on my check glass coin bead, but I just took my pliers and pinched them together. And I'm going to just do one single wrap around my upward wire. I think I am going to need my pliers. This is nice because you do have the coin bead to hold on to. I'm just going to bring that around, just one single really neat wrap, and I'm going to trim really close to the back here, and just make sure that my wire is secure right there. Okay, so it looks like that, and now I'm going to feed on this little flower bead cap facing up and one of these 7mm beads. And now my idea was to leave a length of wire here, and so I think what I'm going to do is take a Sharpie marker, and I don't want it to be really long, but I did want to see some of the wire, so I'm going to take a Sharpie marker and put a mark right there, and I'm going to take this earring and match it up and put a mark on this one. Okay, and now I am going to come with my one-step looper and put my wire in, and I want to do it. The one-step looper makes your simple loop. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word for a simple loop. It makes it going upward, and so since there is most definitely a front and a back, I am going to turn this way and do the simple loop going up that I made just past the back jaw of the tool, and I am gently closing it here. So that's going to be my little like pendulum wire, and I'm just going to let the tool make that cut for me, and it makes the loop, and then I'm going to pull this down, and I have a little bit of a pendulum, and I'm just going to make sure that that loop is closed really well, and just with some force open and close my pliers to work harden it. And so the reason for the direction is to make sure that when I look at my pendulum, my wire is seamless. The opening of the simple loop is now going to the back of the earring. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to make it so that the the back side of the earring is going to be where the simple loop opens. Put the wire through. I just have to find my mark, put it just past the back jaw of the plier. And I'm going to turn it and let it make that little cut for me. And same thing, pull it down. I can straighten. I can see that that loop is centered on this bead, and if it's not, you know, with the coin bead, you have plenty of leverage to make everything as you want it. If your wire is twisted in the one-step looper at all, sometimes it won't close the loop for you, but you know, it's a simple loop and they're super easy to straighten up. And so what that does is gives me a pair of earrings that are the same, you know, without difficult measuring. And now from there, I am going to use a really pretty gold-filled jump ring. Let me find them. I'm going to use one of these little small gold-filled diamond cut jump rings. I love the quality of these jump rings. I have reordered them so many times, but you could make your own jump rings, or you could even turn your loops a different way. And I'm going to just put this little jump ring through my simple loop and close it really well. And I know you guys cannot see the earrings that I have on today, but I am wearing another pair of earrings that I made for my gold-filled interchangeable lever back ear wires. And I really love making beautiful earring designs that do not need an ear wire, because I don't need an ear wire every time. I make so much jewelry. So I have this beautiful little diamond cut loop on the front, and I'm going to just reach over and take this out. This is my gold-filled lever back ear wire. This was the earring that I was wearing today. I was wearing jeans and a red sweater, so that was my earring. And I'm just going to put this in the simple loop, in the ear wire, making sure I have my, you know, my front of my earring, and close that lever back ear wire. And I have this beautiful little pendulum. The coin bead, the flower coin bead, looks suspended, so everything moves and it's really flirty and fun, and I just love that. I guess I'm gonna have to do the other one too and probably wear these tomorrow. They're so beautiful, so pretty. I have terrible dyslexia, you guys, so like putting things on the right way, you'll see me trying 2 or 3 times before I say, oh right, that looks right. But that's what that little sweet pair looks like. I just love those. So easy, so pretty. And they are pretty from the back too. They're unique. Honestly, for me, I look at this and I could easily have allowed this piece of wire to be the front, because I think that looks really contemporary, and I love seeing wire on beads. So this one has been glued, and I just want to leave it flat to dry, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did, and we're going to work on the other earrings while these two dry. So these beautiful Athena cast empty flower frames, I just love them. And I had a little supply of enamel bead caps. They look a little bit like cloisonne bead caps, and I have some tiny little crystals that I don't know if you can even see it in my little pot, but that's the final little embellishment, because I don't want this to look like a bead cap when I'm done. So I'm just going to take some E6000 glue and just get a little drop, a little like dollop right in the middle of this flower frame. And then I'm going to take my flower cap. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to take my flower cap and lay it right on top. And I really love the E6000 for this, because it gives you time to like situate things. And I want to have the 2 petals on my flower like really lined up so that it's right in the middle with the hook, the same way that I did this one. And just use my pliers to make sure it's pressed down firmly. And then I'm going to do as I often do, put that E6000 glue away and get my gel Loctite Control super glue, and I'm just going to get a tiny little bead flowing and just put that right in the middle of the enamel bead cap. And also with the gel Loctite super glue, you have a little time, so I'm going to pick up this little crystal and set it right in the middle. Just press it down. Check this one. Yeah, that one's sitting up nicely. And so the sample for the last pair is done, and since I did my gluing ahead of time, everything is ready to be touched. But I am using ear wires for this one, and I'm using these little Athena cast curved tube beads, and I'm mixing gold and silver in this piece. And these are also really fun and dangly. The little tubes move around. Everything moves on this earring. You know, I kind of did it so that my flower is facing forward and my pretty ear wire is facing forward. These are lever back ear wires from Potomac Beads, and these are silver plated brass, and I think these are also Athena cast. They have such high quality. I just absolutely love these beautiful little ear wires. So I am going to show you guys what I did, and this is super simple. You do not have to be a bead weaver for this, and you can really use anything that you have. The dragon thread is really great for a project like this, but I had this on my work table from the project that I did for this bracelet. It was still here, and it's nice and stiff, and so I didn't even put a needle, and I just have a little bit of a length, and I am going to put it through the hole at the top of this earring and let my earring or my charm, or I think they called it a pendant in the box, just let it drop down to the middle or so. And I'm going to tie 2 knots right here, just overhand knots right on top of each other. And you honestly could thread a needle on both ends of this if you wanted to. You're going to be feeding, I mean, if you like this project, you would be feeding both of these threads up to the top of the wire guardian. So I am using a gold wire guardian. I'm using some 8/0 gold seed beads just in between. This is mostly a silver earring, but it's dotted with gold. So you can see, like, my enamel bead caps have a little gold edge, and I put a little gold right in the middle of the flower. And you know, you could actually put gold ear wires on this, even with the wire guardian at the top. I could actually not put ear wires on this and also thread these on to interchangeable lever back ear wires. So lots of options for this design. Okay, so I have a couple of little knots in there now. I'm going to draw both of my threads together and feed on one of my bead caps facing up, both threads going through that little bead cap, and then one of the 7mm frosted yellow beads. Both threads go through that, and then a bead cap, both of the threads going through with this one facing down. And now you see why I didn't feel like I needed to get 2 needles out and thread them. So all I did is choose 3 of these little curved tubes, and again, both threads going through the tubes. And I just spaced them out with a seed bead, and I am just letting them float. This is another really flirty, really pretty earring that dangles and moves, so I decided to let the little tubes be curvy and kind of move. And I don't know if I've picked up a tube. Oh, I do. I have a tube with a blocked. No, I don't. I just wasn't pushing hard enough. Sometimes you cannot talk and like thread beads. But I'm just going to work my way up, doing a tube, a seed bead, tube, a seed bead, and finish with a tube. Okay, and again, I'm just going to let them drop down and do their little wiggly thing that they do. And now I'm going to take my wire guardian and once again separate my threads, and I'm going to feed one thread up one channel on the wire guardian and down the other side, and just pull this down to my last tube. And then I'm going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. This is going to go up this channel, up this little side tube on the wire guardian, and just make sure that it's going to rest in the little channel at the top of the wire guardian, and go back down. And the reason I'm doing this is to center my wire guardian on the string of tubes. It'll just keep the earring hanging pretty straight. So can you see I have a wire coming out a thread coming out each side, and I'm just going to pull it down into position and just make sure that my thread is in that channel. And I'm going to tie a couple of overhand knots the same way that we did when we started. Just get my tubes to be kind of wiggly. And I'm just going to tie like 2 overhand knots. And my particular beading thread is nylon, and it melts really nicely with a thread zap, and that's what I'm going to do to make sure that it's secure. I'm also going to take my pliers and just pull my wire guardian together to make it a bit smaller. And just let me come to the back, just kind of flip it around and just tie an overhand knot on the back of the earring. This is going to swing and spin, so I want it to look good front and back, but I'm just going to tie off and cut this pretty close, and then I'm going to melt the knot, melt the end. You could also use beader's glue just to make sure it's secure, but I have my trusty little thread zap here, so I'm just going to heat that up and just melt that. Perfect. And the last thing that I am going to do, which if you have been on my channel, you know that when I finish any work, I take my Permalac anti-tarnish coating and everything gets brushed with it. Even the beautiful Athena cast, it has very high quality plating, but it, it's over time it will rub off because it's just plated, it's not precious metal. And my bead caps are really inexpensive enamel bead caps. They will get a coat. I don't need to do my craft wire earrings because they are anti-tarnish. Gold-filled jump rings, anti-tarnish. I will brush. These are very high quality bead caps that I have, but I will brush those. And of course my gold-filled lever back ear wires do not need an anti-tarnish coating. And so I will do all of that when I'm finished. It dries super fast, and it's, you don't have to be precise. I'm just going to open this little ear wire and thread that wire guardian onto it and close it. And as I said, with the wire guardian at the top, you actually don't need an ear wire if you have the interchangeable lever back ear wires. So this is like 3 really fun, really fast, and I think pretty unique pairs of earrings, and so spring, because they're actually going into spring and summer. They're flirty and dangly and classic, the coin beads, pearl hoops. I mean, I just love, I'm probably going to repeat this design with some other different beads. Pearl hoops with an all-in-one ear wire. I love those. And if you did not see my first video with the Pink Lemonade treasure box, I did a pretty fast unboxing, and then I did this beautiful Pink Lemonade floral, like cha-cha section. I just love this bracelet. It's so happy, and I love the different shapes. It's just like a gorgeous spring/summer beaded chain bracelet, and I use those same jump rings, and I know I'm going to wear this a lot, so I put a gold filled lobster claw clasp on it. And if you didn't see this, I'll link this video. It's a really simple beaded chain, but I did do a couple of special little techniques with my head pins, so maybe you'll get some inspiration from that video as well. Check the description box. I will put links to Potomac beads, all my favorite tools, any of my findings that I pulled in for this project that I think you might be interested in for your own work. And as always, I thank you so much for watching. There's a lot to choose from on the internet, and if you've chosen me, I am really grateful and honored. So I thank you for that, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you're all safe and well and having fun on your beading mats.